Welcome, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Monday, January 13th, 2025. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first two cards in our 5-card spread for today? First two cards we are starting our day off with today are, yep. Yeah, this tracks. We've got here our Two of Cups in its reversal in combination with our Two of Swords. Heavy on the twos right now. Heavy on the twos. Now, we're going to talk about this because this is a conversation on duality, man. I'm telling you, even right now, this energy has, and I got to stress this, like this is why so much of this energy right now, I'm going to just keep telling you, this is warrior energy. This is just warrior energy. I would be very curious to know where Chiron is right now because a lot of this is working through. Like, look at this. We've got this is what we talk about when we talk about intention. This is energy that's saying to themselves, yeah, this is how I feel. But how I feel does not interrupt what I know to be energetically the right direction. Right? This is why we feel so much of this pull, like this tug of war right now, because this is the emotions that are growing right now. Like this is why we call it the wolf moon. It makes you want to howl at it, right? You got a lot of that emotionality that comes out, and a lot of it is not knowing what to do with it. And a lot of it has to do with the fact we had that double void moon. So this is like a whole blank space. We had all that liminal space coming out of that Capricorn new moon that was like all of that clarity, being able to see something from a distance very clearly, right? Immediate emotional amplification. Immediate. So again, like double void. So like double pullback and then double emotionality upon something. So there's a lot of tendency right now. All right. I'm telling you, if you're suddenly feeling super, super emotional about something that happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, like, welcome to the vibe, okay? It's big. And what is the most important thing that we navigate when we feel something energetically heavy? Don't get carried away, right? Don't get carried away by the emotions. Move with intention through them. Set those intentions, because I'm telling you even now, like a lot of that like energetic nostalgia, remembering the emotions are always a few steps behind us. Why would the emotions can't live ahead of us, right? This is why we talk. Like, this is why we even talk about manifestation goals. When we talk about how is it going to energetically feel, because it's hard to energetically connect with something that you haven't felt yet, right? It's really easy, but it's really easy to feel the energetic tug of something that you've already experienced, right? So I see even now, like there's a lot of this energy that feels like if you're feeling right now, like you're being pulled into, right? If you're feeling like your emotions are going, I want to go this way, and your intentions are going, I want to go that way, and your emotions are going, no, I loved it back there, and the emotions are going, and the intentions are going, no, what's good for us is this way, right? It's like you're gonna have that right now. Like this is the vibe, and it is having a different impact depending on where you find yourselves on the frequency cycles. Now, and this is why I'm going to keep telling you again, the partnerships that are forming. Hear me, and listen to me really right now. The partnerships that are forming right now during this retrograde season are these are the Aries partnerships. Yep. You know why? Because they are building their courage with their own hands. To feel that, I want you to imagine feeling that tug that says the past, going the emotions of the past going, we have to go back. We have to go back. You left the emotions there. The emotions are in the past. You're never going to feel like that again. You're never going to feel like that again. No, they're growing. Like a lot of that emotion, right? Like that's where it's like, whoa, it's getting big. But then the intentions, like what is the intention saying? What's the higher self saying? Like, hey, buddy. Yeah, of course you feel like that because you've already experienced that. You don't know what's on the horizon. You can't feel those things yet. You gotta walk. It's gonna feel like you're stumbling around in the dark, and you've got a lot of the emotions that are howling because it's the wolf moon going, come back. Like right? That's what the emotions are howling. They're going, go back, you're leaving the emotions in the past. And the higher self is going, dude, there's so many emotions in the future. Like, we just gotta keep moving in that way. I promise you, there are emotions in the future. So working through that, this is the energy that's moving towards one another. And I'm telling you, even now, there's some energy right now that's moving towards one another. And they're saying to themselves, I'm doing this. My heart's not in it. Of course your heart's not in it. This is how we build upon intentions, right? We honor the energetic burden of navigating towards our intentions, right? And so we see even now, this is the energy that's coming towards one another. Do you see how strong? Do you see these warriors that are coming together right now? These are the energies that say, I don't deny my energetic past. I hold the emotions towards it strongly, because that's the energy that says, I hold my palm open as it relates to the past, because that's where all my lessons came from. Right? I honor that feeling. And if I feel emotions towards it, it's because it was energetically sacred. Right? Holding their hand out to the future saying, and I leave my other palm open for what will come. I leave my other palm open for what I intend to bring forth with another. Right? And so this is why these energies right now in separation, this is the energy that is building into that power of strength. You know how much strength it takes to be able, this is what we talk about being present, right? Being present doesn't mean like, oh, I'm just not going to think about the past. I'm not going to think about the past. No, right? It's not disassociative. It's embodying it. It's saying, I am the sum of those things. I embrace all of it. So we see even now a lot of that energy building forth in those connections right now. Entirely courage that they're creating with their own two hands, because it's not coming from Mars. Mars went on a little vacation. Mars is on vacation right now. Mars is coming back until Mars ain't coming back until February 23rd. They're on a little vacation. They're taking a little trip. You know? Well, for the energy right now coming into divine union, this is why it's so energetically painful. Because this is the energy coming into divine union and feels the weight of not understanding. Like, this is the energy that understands that the embodiment of something feels very different than how something looks on the outside, right? There's a lot of this energy coming into divine union that says to one another, this is why these partnerships are the Capricorn partnerships. I keep getting a message that these are the Capricorn partnerships, because this is the energy that says it's little, it's broken, but it's still good. We've been fixing these ever since the eclipse cycle. Like, this is the energy that says if another person doesn't hold it sacredly, we don't try to articulate to them the importance of something that is sacred. We don't do that. When something is energetically sacred, it doesn't matter what another person thinks about it. We just protect someone from it, right? So we see even now, this is the energy that moves in that way. It's bittersweet, because this is the energy that both feels the frustration of experiencing that, but then also, and this is the nostalgia factor, remembers a time when they themselves may have potentially embodied that perception. There's a lot of this energy right now. I see a lot of energy right now coming into divine union, and they're so frustrated because they're seeing something outside of union. And they're remembering what it felt like to see something in that way. And they're also recognizing that, like, when someone sees something in a way that they like, you can't, what are you going to do? Like, you can't. This is why we feel like these maturation processes are so difficult, because some things you can only understand once you experience them. Some things you can only understand when you perceive them. And so this is a lot of the energy that's kind of left like at a, like you just have to be there kind of thing, because this is the energy that says you just have to be there, and we're here, and this is energetically sacred. And if someone else doesn't understand that, I hope the day comes that they do, right? Well, for a lot of this energy deep within divine union, man, I'm going to say it again. Welcome to 2025. Welcome to Pluto and Aquarius, honoring your nope. Like, I just see a lot of this energy right now, and it is having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy. I just see that for a lot of the masculine energy right now, a lot of that work that we're recognizing and identifying here, it has to do I want to say, with that building into that context of, like, it keeps giving me a lot of this. And I want to, the one thing I will say is I feel like masculine and feminine right now, deep within divine union, are coming into alignment in a certain way, wherein these lessons are starting to feel very much built upon and based upon setting one's own energetic intention as it relates to plans. I just keep seeing that there's something really fundamental about that work that's occurring here. And a lot of it is, I want to say the reason something here is difficult is because this is the energy that I keep on hearing for a lot of the energy deep within divine union, not ideal, right? But that's the thing. When something is not ideal, it doesn't move you off of one's own ideals. It sets one's intention to say, it further amplifies what you consider. Like, when something isn't ideal, it helps you see your ideals with more clarity. And I just keep seeing that there's something that's happening in that way that has to do with energetic refinement. Third center card in our 5-card spread. Wow. Okay. We just got a third 2 card. We've got 3 of the 4 2 cards out right now. We got our 2, and they're all in their reversal. All in their reversal. So we've got our 2 of Pentacles in its reversal. Just showing you guys these cards right now. We've got the 2 of Cups in its reversal, the 2 of Swords in its reversal, the 2 of Pentacles in its reversal, right? There's a lot of this work that we're seeing right now. And I just want to say that, like, this is, there's a lot of this work that we're seeing in relationality to the energy deep within divine union. That is, like, they're just saying to me, like, this is alignment, right? Like, this is the full force of alignment, which is, again, building into that context of feeling that sense. Like, I see a lot of the masculine and feminine energy right now deep within divine union, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to, amplifying and articulating, like, on this we can agree, right? And this is very important because you'll have to remember here, we have a lot of conversations right now about that tug of war, right? A lot of that feeling right now about, like, the emotions that feel like they pull you one way, right? And the intention, which feels like it pulls you in the other, right? The emotions want to pull you backwards. The intentions want to pull you forwards, right? The ego wants to pull you backwards. The higher self wants to pull you forwards. How do you come into alignment? And this is why, again, I keep saying that there isn't a patch job on this. This isn't like, there isn't something here that one can say and like it requires, and this is where the collective becomes the self, right? Because recognizing that has to do, like, what it feels like in relationality to setting the intentions has to do with what the higher self and the energetic ego, again, what do they say when they're in alignment? On this we can agree, right? Doesn't require the sense of space in terms of the head and the heart space, like being always in alignment. We can't have that. Like I just articulated, the head space, the higher self wants to go forward. The emotions always want to run backwards. But when we find that moment and we're able to, again, this is why I'm telling you even now, it's not wrong right now. It's not wrong to act in accordance to the emotions so long as the head and the heart space, on this we can agree, right? Doing that internal logic, not just feeling the emotions, not just moving in the direction of what feels indulgently good, but building into that construct of saying, like, this is what the emotions demand, and this is what the higher self also demands, and understanding, like, that's what we feel when we feel a call, like that sense of, like, feeling that sense of alignment has to do with a lot of this work building upon and setting one's intentions. And it's like, it can feel very hard doing that, but it also can feel very fortifying. And a lot of that right now, and that's either happening, I want to say, internally, It's either happening internally right now, deep within divine union, or it's happening externally. This could be the energy in deep within divine union, making those plans, setting that path work, building upon that context. Now, for masculine and feminine energy right now coming into divine union, this is that same sense, right? This is the energy that recognizes that feeling of maturation, maturing together, right? Often alignment is recognizing and feeling that we build into healthy partnership when we share energetic perspective. Now, that doesn't mean that we're always in lockstep, right? It doesn't mean that we always see things exactly the same way, but being able to have those moments or experiences wherein the energy is able to articulate to one another and say, on this we can agree. I just see a lot of that energy unpacking things, sharing that, right? Even sharing their frustrations as it relates to another person's perception of something that doesn't feel like it's in accordance to the perception of the energy deep within divine union, right? And this is the energy that, again, what do we do in those moments? We don't try to change another's perception of something. We build into that context of saying the day may come when another sees something in the way that we do. And this is why often I keep getting that a lot of that energy coming into divine union is learning new forms of compassion, right? Compassion doesn't feel often like that sense of having to prove something to another, right? Compassion is that moment when you recognize that that when we're trying to prove things to one another, it effectively means that we're not feeling them, right? Like, this is the energy that feels and recognizes that healthy partnership is not based upon or built upon trying to convince another how one should feel or how one feels or sees something. This is the energy that understands that beauty of surrender that occurs when we allow ourselves to move in accordance and alignment with someone that feels and experiences that in the same way that we do. And that brings us to a lot of the energy in separation right now. The hardest thing I ever had to do, I just hear a lot of this energy in separation saying, the feminine, the hardest thing I ever had to do was be able to trust in a space after I've had the wounds of trust that occurred. The masculine, the hardest thing I've ever had to do was be my authentic self after experiencing rejection. What are these energies saying? There is no rejection. This is the masculine that says there is no rejection. There's just alignment. If I have to prove myself to someone, they're not for me, right? This is the energy that says, I don't need to prove who I am. I know who I am. I move towards feminine from a place of authenticity. That doesn't mean that the masculine doesn't try. This is the masculine that says, I am a work in progress. And I know that the feminine will see that, the feminine that is for me will see that work in progress as a masterpiece. And this is the feminine that says, I will learn I am going to trust. And if my trust was violated in the past, those wounds of trust become the map that light the way. Those wounds of trust are not wounds. They are lamp posts. They are the discernment that I'm bringing forward with me on my journey. And the energy of the masculine that is for me will honor those lamp posts, and they will treat them as they are my own, because this is the feminine that says, my wounds are my map. I do not exist in that space. I navigate that pain of healing in a way that it is energetically sacred and reaffirms my own energetic conviction of what is for me. Fourth and fifth cards in our 5-card spread for today are, we have here our King of Swords in its upright in combination with our 4 of Swords in its reversal. So this is like, this is like, here's the thing with some of this energy right now. And I know you're all feeling it. It's like, it's not ideal, right? It's never ideal. It's never ideal. It's never energetically ideal, right? Now, and I see, like, and here's the thing, like, for a lot of this energy and separation right now, I just keep seeing that this is the energy that is literally building forward towards partnership and making peace with the past. But this is the thing. Making peace with the past isn't peaceful, right? Making peace with the past frequently does is not is this is the energy that says it took all of my strength. It took all of my energy to make peace with the past, right? Because this is the energy that recognizes that when we say we are making peace with the past, it doesn't mean that we suddenly come into that space of saying, I'm going to force myself to say that something was okay that wasn't okay. I'm going to force myself to be okay with something. We make energetic peace with the past in the present. In the present. We make peace with the past by making it matter. By making it matter. That is how we make peace with the past. And that's why a lot of this energy right now in separation is moving towards the ability of looking at the past and feeling the enormity of it and saying, I'm going to take that energy and I'm going to make it matter. Because when we become cynical, right, this is the energy that says if we feel that weight and we let it crush us down, right, if we allow cynicism to crush us down, if we allow that hopelessness to crush us down, that get down, stay down energy to crush us down, then this is the energy that goes, and so it will be. And so it will be, right? Because that is the energy that says the moment we choose to say, that's not the end of that. That is not the end of that energetic story. This is the energy that says getting back up again, right? This is the energy that says that in that work of navigating those experiences and feeling the weight of the past, this is the energy that says it took all of my strength to turn that page, right? But even in the turning of that page, this is the energy that says I make energetic peace with it, because it doesn't mean that energy was, it doesn't mean that didn't have magnitude, right? It's honoring the strength it takes to turn a page, right? While for a lot of this energy right now, and that's the energy that says, like, they don't look at something like a clean slate. They don't go, I'm just going to forget everything that happened prior to this. This is the energy that says this is that tome. This is that energy, or that work is sacred, because this is the energy that feels like they recognize themselves in the process. For masculine, this feels very much like understanding and coming to understand who one is. For feminine, this is the feminine that makes energetic peace with who they are not, right? And this has a lot to do with that energy right now coming into divine union. And this is why some of that volatility is there with all of this sword energy, because it's not easy, right? I feel like a lot of that energy right now is, the one thing I'm seeing for the energy coming into divine union is feeling very protective. There's a lot of this like overprotectiveness that's coming as a result of like some of this energy that we're experiencing right now. And that's why I see even now, like, working through anything that may feel like it may have I see a lot of this energy that's looking at navigating something right now, and I can see them going, like, this would have triggered me like crazy before. And then what happens in that moment, right? The energy is no longer energetically triggered by something, because often it's a moment that we realize that we prioritize something different, that we're no longer triggered. And this is why this energy is maturing, right? Because one of the signs of maturation is something that used to trigger you. Like what? Like what? Now, continuing, for a lot of this energy deep within divine union right now, this is like it's like restive, but it's not restive, right? It's not restive. It feels very much, like, what's the best way I can just, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like active stillness. The word will come to me, because it feels meditative, but it also feels, and this is why, this is the energy, like, I feel like there's so much energy right now that is going through what it feels like to be in Aries, right? which is often, and I just keep on needing to bring this up because it's been funny how much has been coming up. The way everybody's been feeling like that sense of perpetual anticipation. Like Aries feel like that every single day. That's why I keep saying, if you know someone with Aries placements right now, I guarantee you they're all cool, like they're gonna be the only ones who are feeling kind of chill and confident right now. And they're looking around like to everybody else, like what has gotten into everybody? Because everybody is acting like Aries feel for the first time, right? But this is the energy, like this is how energy of Aries often comes into that space of navigating it, which is when you feel like that sense of constant anticipation, you get used to it. You don't let it doesn't change your calibration, right? You can't navigate. You feel that sense of something looming on the horizon, but you're not going to let it ruin your experience of the present moment. So you build into that context of, again, recognizing and working through fear. Because again, when we're working, and this is why a lot of the Aries like journey has to be like the relationship to fear. Because when you have fear, like it's not that you ignore it, right? You have to have a healthy relationship with it. You know, like the fear is your creepy friend that sometimes gets a little carried away. You know, sometimes they've got a really good note. So we see even now, like there's a lot of that energy that is working through that and setting their intention in the process, continuing to get clarification between all of this two energy, the Two of Cups and our Two of Swords in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with Queen of Wands in its reversal. Now, a lot of this Queen of Wands energy, and like this is why if you're someone more like connected to feminine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. If you're going through like a lot of sacred rage right now, like yeah, right? I feel like a lot of the feminine energy is in that space of saying to themselves, no matter what I do, nothing ever feels right. Right? No matter what you do. And this is why, because there's a lot of this energy right now that is working in that capacity of recognizing that when another person says to you, you're not really what I expected you to be. Or those moments of someone being like, you know, I just expected you to be different. Like, I thought that you were like this. You know, when someone else has that pre-packaged perception of feminine, this is something that is just uniquely characteristic to the experience of being feminine. And this is why masculine, to a great degree, feels very protective of feminine and recognizing this, because this is not something that masculine frequently has to go through, right? Like when masculine disappoints, often the masculine is celebrated for disappointing others. When feminine disappoints, it's often the fact that the feminine feels like they're in that space. And this is because, again, rejection is an illusion, right? That ability, and again, this is why I see a lot of the feminine energy working in that space of the feminine understanding that flaws are not like that flaws are not are necessary. That we don't need to remove flaws. We shine our flaws. We turn them into facets, right? And so when another looks towards the feminine and says you are flawed, what they're really saying is that they're not embracing the feminine in the space that they desire them to be, but more trying to bring them into what they hope them to be, right? So that's why we see even now like a lot of that feminine kind of having, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're feminine energy and you're feeling kind of fiery right now, being like, I delight in disappointing you. like, you know, like I delight in disappointing you, right? Because this is the energy that says better to disappoint another than disappoint the self, right? Better to disappoint another than disappoint the self. And so for a lot of that energy, that is why we see that so much of the masculine energy deep within divine union right now is feeling so energetically protective of feminine. Because this is masculine. Is this the masculine that looks to feminine and goes, I know what that feels like? This is the masculine that feels protective to feminine because they look at feminine and go, I have never had to feel that in my life. I've never had to feel those moments of someone saying, you don't really fit the box that I wanted to put you in. That's not very, you know, what I expected you to be, right? So this is the masculine. Like this is why some of this energy right now was more in that hermit space, because navigating some of these things, this is the masculine that often honors feminine in that energy and saying, hey, listen, you have to navigate lessons that I don't even get to touch on. I've never had to experience that, right? Whereas for the feminine, this is the feminine that looks towards masculine and says, it must be very difficult to be in that space where everyone aspires and desires you to just be energetically strong, right? This is why we see even a lot of the feminine energy being in that space of saying to the masculine that way, like, how does the feminine love the masculine in that way? This is a lot of the feminine that says to masculine, your intrinsic value is not what you put forth. You are intrinsically special for being the person that you are, right? So we see even now a lot of this energy building upon that. This is how we honor the energetic emotions, because I see even now a lot of this energy right now deep within divine union is working through the emotions of what it takes to be someone in a space of integrity, right? While for masculine and feminine energy right now coming into divine union, this is a lot of letting go of the past, man. This is a lot of this energy just letting go of the past. I just see right now, snip, 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 snip. Like a lot of this work that we see here. And a lot of that work, why do we see that? Because this is the energy that works through, like again, the perception of others' energetic opinions towards things, right? This is why if the energy was working through something where another person had a perception that was different than them in relationality to partnership, they just put a little bit of that distance there, because this is the energy that says our energetic partnership does not work to serve your benefit. This is the energy that says that this is much like the energy we saw of the feminine saying that delighting and disappointing others to a certain extent is the hallmark of some of these Capricorn partnerships that are coming into like deeper into divine union right now, because this is the energy that says you don't like us, we don't care. Right? But that is the maturation process, because much like we would when we're children, right? When we move into being ourselves, we don't worry so much what others say, right? Because we don't work to like please others. We work in alignment to our higher selves. So this is like a deep maturation that's happening for a lot of this energy right now, you know, and a lot of that is like an emotional, like again, honoring the emotions and the space it takes to come through that maturation process. For a lot of this energy right now, deep within, like in separation, man, this is like, I just keep hearing warrior for all of the energy coming into separation right now, because again, it's not ideal. It's actually like the opposite of ideal in terms of trying to come into partnership, which is why the energy doing so right now, absolute warriors. Continuing to get clarification between our Two of Swords in its reversal and our Two of Pentacles in its reversal. So many twos today. Just getting rid of that idea, duality, like forget about duality right now. The Sun card, it's complicated. I just see a lot of this energy saying it's complicated. Yeah, I'm complicated. Like this is the energy that goes, it's complicated, right? It's navigating the complication and it's requiring a lot of nuance. And that's why I say even now, like even in this reading, that feeling, right? This is why I can't be prescriptive. Like, again, like I'm never, like good reading is never going to tell you what to do. It's going to orient you in terms of what you're navigating to make those choices for yourself. The difficulty that I'm seeing here with a lot of this is a lot of the energy right now. The emotions are pulling one way. The ego's pulling one way. The higher self's pulling the other. How do you find orientation through that? On this, we can agree. On this, we can agree. Look for the Venn diagram right now. Look for the Venn diagram. Look for that ellipse between what the higher self desires and what the energetic emotional ego desires, right? And if you find that space, if you find something you're feeling or you're feeling called to do that fits within that ellipse, beautiful, right? Like let that guide you. So we see even now, like that's hard because doing that work right now, it's like threading a needle. You know, it feels like it really is like focus. What do you do when you're trying to thread a needle? You focus, right? But if you're, you know, it's hard because I see even now it's like, geez, you know, like it's a lot of that. It's a lot of that work right now. Now, and that's happening across all of the frequencies. And that's why we see even now, this is the energy that with like this vacillation that we're experiencing with the Mars retrograde, which is like the roller coaster, like, ah, everything's going to be great. It's going to be awful. Everything's going to be changed. Nothing's going to change. Keep your focus on what the ideal is, right? When we are navigating from a place of our ideals, and when our ideals match our manifestation goals, we move in accordance to them. And so that's why I say even now, like, and I want to say this right now. Do not be lulled into the feel, like the security of what emotionally feels good, right? Because it's far too easy for someone to do something from the egoic space and to say it's part of their energetic healing journey, right? Remember that often the thing that's best for your healing journey is the thing that sucks. like it's a thing that isn't easy to do, right? I told you. Continuing to get clarification between our Two of Pentacles in its reversal and our King of Swords in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now. Our Chariot in its reversal. Again, man, heavy on this like 2 energy here. You know, and that's the thing. Like, we're leaving, like, here's the thing. Like, we're leaving a lot of this, energy. There's a lot of this energy, like the Pluto and Capricorn energy, trying to move into Pluto and Aquarius. It feels really out of place because a lot of it is very much like, I keep getting that a lot of that energy of Pluto and Capricorn was focused on the binary. You know, it's like this or that. Like, just make things easier. I don't want to have to think about things. Just, can you just make it, like, can you just dumb it down kind of thing? It's like that kind of energy. Can we just, like, you know, there's a lot of that here. And, you know, Pluto and Scorpio is like, no, nothing is simple. Nothing important is energetically simple. It's very complex. So we see even now that, like, a lot of that energy, like in separation, if you're in separation right now, moving towards partnership, and you feel like you've got a lot of complicated emotions, congratulations, right? Because it shows the fact that you're in that space, that you're able to navigate. This is how we heal one another, right? We navigate our own complications, you know? We say to ourselves, it's complicated. And guess what? My gift, my ideal counterpart, is I do that work in working through my own energetic complications, those spaces in the heart space, like untangling those cords, if you will, right? Like, it's not the fact that they're ever completely untangled. It's about observing them. It's about being able to identify them. It's being able to articulate upon complicated emotions. This is how we heal. It doesn't require us to let go of the past. Why would you let go of the past? That's where you learned everything that made you the person that you are today, which is why often, again, when we meet someone that's on a healing journey, they often have a very complicated relationship to their past, because this is the energy that says, I gravitate towards the energetic complication. That doesn't mean that they intentionally try to make something complicated. They introspect upon the complication to make it easier to articulate to those around them, right? And this is how the energy in separation is recognizing each other, right? They're navigating and they're articulating upon those complications, but they're very clear about the direction they're heading, right? This isn't the energy that says in separation, I've got this, like, all my emotions are connected to the past. This is the energy that's healing. It goes, yeah, my emotions are connected to the past because that's all I've experienced. The emotions are always a few minutes behind, you know, like the emotions are always pulling backwards because I don't know what's ahead. So this is the energy that says, and look, you see the cutoff? This is the energy that's moving towards one another and saying, I can have a lot of emotions about the past, but it doesn't change my direction. I can have a lot of emotions about the past, but it doesn't change my intention, right? This is a lot of the energy in separation, recognizing each other by saying, I've got a lot of big emotions, but make no mistake. I know which direction I'm moving, right? While for masculine and feminine energy right now, coming into divine union, same energetic force here, that same sense of saying to another, when we hold something energetically precious, we don't feel like we have to run to go prove it to someone, right? This is the energy that says we're coming into divine union, not for effect, not to like, ta-da, like not to see what happens. This is the energy that says we're moving towards one another because we are energetically affected. And frankly, like you can say this is how the energy is learning a new space of compassion, which is the energy that says with all the love in their heart, if another doesn't share the opinion of that, they go, with all the love I have within me, I don't care. Right? And that says, when they say I don't care, what they're saying is they're not saying that they do not care, right? They're saying that the energetic partnership is not impacted by the feelings. It's not conditional, right? This is the energy that says they don't care because they're articulating the fact that they've matured to such a degree that they recognize that partnership is not conditional on other people's opinions, right? Like it's not conditional. So that's the energy that says like to another and goes, I hope one day you understand how the compassion it takes to say that. Like that's the energy that says with all the love, like it's not conditional. It doesn't change anything, right? So we see even now, like this is the energy that feels that and it doesn't change something, immediately fortified in it, right? Because it shows how strong the connection is. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, deep within divine union, this is working through frustrations right now. This is, and on a lot of this right now, I want to say it feels I want to say it feels exhaustive in relationality to like recognizing and identifying the energy. It's like it's not easy to work in integrity, right? Like this is the thing about it. Like I just see even now for a lot of that energy working forward in such a way, it requires that sense or space of, I want to say, how do I describe this best? You know, and this has a lot to do with like the Aries retrograde, that uncertainty that we often experience with the volatility of something, but letting that kind of fortify and set one's own intention, right? This is a lot of that energy that works into that space of feeling energetically stronger. But again, also working in that space of I want to identify, like I want to like navigating that space to a certain extent. We're not feeling too hard on the self in the process. And that's the only thing I have to point out here. It's very easy right now. Like I told you, the thing with these Cancer full moons is it's easy to get carried away. So a lot of that feeling of being hard on yourself, like I want to say even now for masculine, you are always where you need to be. You are not energetically defined by your past. You are refined by it. And for feminine, you are getting stronger every day. Continuing to get clarification between our King of Swords and its upright in combination with our Three of Swords and its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Nine of Cups in its reversal. And here's the thing about this, guys. And again, we've got a few hours until this full moon like reaches its fullness. If you're feeling a lot of emotions right now, I want you to set a timer to it. Give yourself the space to feel what you're feeling. Give yourself 5 minutes. Set a timer. Say, okay, listen. Because here's the thing. Energy like this, like it's like how do you honor how you're emotionally feeling? You honor how you're feeling by giving yourself space to feel it, right? And so also like a lot of that work right now in honoring the space that you feel something is not necessarily, and this is why I say even now, the possibility of just unloading on someone today emotionally, being like, I've got a lot of feelings and they're complicated and I don't know what to do with them. I just want to give them to you to deal with. Remember, love is honoring each other's path work. And when we're honoring each other's path work, we don't utilize the emotions. We don't throw the emotions at each other. Because it's like all we're saying is that this math, this homework is too complicated for me to do. You take it. It's your fault I feel like this. You take it all, right? We do that work of introspecting upon the gift of feeling something and remembering that if we feel something strongly, it's because it's important to us. And we allow that space of honoring the emotions to set our intentions going forward. Continuing to get clarification between our Queen of Wands in its reversal in combination with our Sun card in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Magician in its reversal. So, and this is, I need to show you guys right now. This is what I mean about this feeling like there's a lot of vulnerability that's coming through right now. There's a lot of that work that is being navigated in relationality to navigating the space of the self, doubting oneself, right? Like, again, look at this energy here. This is the energy that feels that frustration of always, like, I want to say, like, and I want to say even now, like, if you're a perfectionist, today might feel like a hard day for you, because that sense of saying, like, oh, I'm not meeting my own expectations. I'm going to remind you, here's your higher self telling you again, you're never going to be perfect. You're never going to be perfect. Our job here is not to be perfect. Our job is to strive for perfection. Our job is to try to reach for the higher self, knowing that even as we do so, we're always going to be a little bit off. We're always going to miss that mark. But that space of doing so, this is how we find ourselves, right? The journey of trying to reach our higher self is the destination. So we see even now, like, a lot of that energy working through the frustrations of the self. I want you to be kind to yourself today as you navigate that, right? Our job is not to be perfect. Our job is to strive for perfection, and then to say to ourselves, if we feel like we're missing the mark, the question isn't whether we've done so. The question is, again, letting that redefine our own energetic conviction as it relates to what it is that we're moving towards. Now, for masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now, this is why it feels so frustrating. I can see this energy have been like in that space of being like, this is why, like, if you feel like coming into divine union is going to kind of create energetic peace, sometimes it's the opposite, right? This is the energy that works through a lot of that. Like, I want to say there's some energy right now, some Capricorn partnerships that are coming into divine union that are navigating and feeling somewhat energetically isolated, right? They're experiencing some of that hermit energy that we saw that was coming through for the energy within divine union. Why are we seeing that right now? Because when we mature, we sometimes feel isolated because we haven't found those whose perception matches ours, right? Because just like when we're young, right, and we feel isolated. Why do we feel isolated when we mature? Because we see things in a way that others don't see them. So there's a lot of this energy right now coming into divine union, navigating those growing pains, and it feels like healthy partnership, feels like a maturation process. And I'm going to tell you right now, look at these warriors in separation. And you know what? Here's the thing. These are the energies going, I don't feel strong at all. I don't feel strong at all. This is the energies in separation. Feminine goes, I'm terrified, right? But that's why this is the energy of the warrior. Because what does the energy of the warrior navigate from their fear? No, right? This is the masculine going, I'm terrified to be my authentic self. Is this the masculine that reacts to that, follows that feel? No. They articulate through it, and they find themselves in the process. Continuing to get clarification between our Sun card in combination with our Chariot card in its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify, please? Clarification coming through right now with our Six of Pentacles in its upright. And if this card looks familiar, it's because this was a card we concluded our reading on yesterday. This was our ultimate card yesterday. So we see here it's moving, that compassion is moving up the frequencies, right? It's moving into that space. And that's the energy that this is the full breadth of the emotions, right? How do we heal? How do we heal those moments that feel like they're pulling us back into the past? How do we heal the opposition, the pull, right? The emotions that scream and say to us, no, we can't leave the past. The past is where I live. If you leave the past, you're never going to feel like that again. If you leave the past, like this is that energy going, if you leave the past, you're never going to feel anything ever again. And I see a lot of this energy in the higher self going, what are you talking about? Like I can see the energy of the higher self going, wait, what did you just say? Wait, emotions. What did you say? If you don't, I'll never feel that way again. Like, this is the energy that goes remembering and orienting and saying. It always feels like that when we're letting go of the past because we don't know what's on the horizon, right? All those moments, all those experiences. And this is the energy that says, you're right, I'll never feel that way again. It's energetically sacred. But this is how we heal. We don't push that away. We say, I hold that moment sacredly, right? And so this is a lot of that energy that builds into that context. So I feel like what's beautiful about this is, navigating these waves that we're experiencing, because it's a big wave energy, right? Like, how do we navigate? We were talking about this yesterday. What do you do if you're in the face of a giant wave? Do you just try to stand against it? No, you're going to get knocked over. Do you try to run from it? You never turn your back to the sea. You embrace it, right? You embrace it. And that doesn't mean that you let it it doesn't, like, you don't get overwhelmed by it, right? You don't allow oneself to be carried away, but you focus on that energetic horizon and you trust the universe in the process, right? So there's I can almost hear a lot of this energy right now in separation, like hearing their higher self, like in the distance. Like, this is why I can hear the energy with the energy, the loudness, like the loudness of the emotions of the past, but they can hear this like whisper of their higher self in the future saying, hey, I'm over here. Like, I'm this way. Make sure that you stay in accordance with allowing that to steer you in the right direction. Continuing to get clarification between our Chariot in its reversal in combination with our 9 of Cups in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with Page of Pentacles. It's the hardest thing, right? It's the hardest thing, holding something heavy lightly. It's the hardest thing. It's the easiest thing. It's the hardest thing. It's holding something easily is the hardest thing ever. Right? But that's because that's what we identify strength. And that's why we see even now, like, a lot of working through a lot of that volatility right now, because that's the thing, which is like, there's a lot of that weight here. Like, there's a lot of that energy where it's like, it would feel really good, like, and that's the only thing that I see here that has to be like, has to be navigated to a certain extent, which again, I keep getting the message, recognize the difference of the something that the ego says. Like, I can already hear the ego being like, it'd be really good for your healing journey right now is if you did something completely ridiculous. like remember that, like, what's truly right for our healing journeys is not what feels good. What's truly right for our healing journeys, and again, much like healing, is doing something difficult, right? And this is like a lot of that heavy lifting. Because I see even now, it's going to be different for each individual right now, because that ability of how one holds something, right? Doing so in a way that feels like it navigates the sacredness of the emotions that one has felt, and allowing it to set one's own intention in relationality to where one is headed right now, right? And I see like the big challenging energy right now around something is feeling the weight of something and saying, I don't know what to do with this. So, and the higher self says, do something good with it. Do something good with it, right? Continuing to get clarification between our Magician card in its reversal in combination with our 6 of Pentacles in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through. Oh, now we've got a lot of 6s coming out. And this card has also been showing up a lot in our readings right now. We've got our 6 of Swords, right? There's a lot of this, like, there's a lot of this work that we see. And this is a lot of that heaviness, right? I just keep getting the message about the fact that something is heavy because it's energetically sacred. And working in that space, like I keep seeing, like I keep getting the message of when we're on pathwork of intention, we carry a lot of sacred grief with us on that journey, right? When we're on pathwork of intention, the space of wisdom, right? And we've talked a lot about this. What is wisdom? Wisdom is sacred pain. right? This is why it's warrior energy, because it is the difference between and the intelligence, something we learn, and wisdom, something we experience. Is wisdom is sacred pain. It is the pain that we experience through like the lessons that we learn via experience that we bear with us as we travel forward, right? And that's why we see that for a lot of that energy, carrying that weight, it's difficult, right? It's bittersweet. It's something I see even now, a lot of that energy, wishing when we have wisdom, we wish we could impart it on another. But then we also recognize that some lessons can only be learned via the experience of the self, right? And so I see even now, like the weight of carrying energetic wisdom, it feels very heavy right now. And that sense of space also being calibrated oppositionally to energy that is righteous, which is why often energy that is righteous is not energy that is wise, because things that are energetically righteous work in that space of feeling validated. It feels good. It feels good. I'm doing it because it's the best. But it often is not energetically correct, because if something feels good, then the feeling of doing it interrupts the process of energetic logic as to whether something is energetically best. So that's why we see that for a lot of this energy right now in separation, working through like that feeling of energetic righteousness, right? Working through a lot of that volatility, working through a lot of that energetic processing versus like what feels good, like a lot of that energy pulling you back to the past versus the wisdom of saying, yeah, of course it does. The emotions live in the past. I recognize that anything I'm building towards, I'm not going to have emotions too, because I haven't created those connections yet. It's always going to feel like it sucks. It's always going to feel like a drag. It's always a drag when we build a healthy energetic connection, because we're feeling the pull of the past in the process. So we see even now that for a lot of that energy, how is that energy navigating that space? With compassion. And the recognition of the counterpart that similarly does that work, that doesn't say, oh, it didn't matter. This is the energy that says, no, everything that's happened in my life matters extremely. I'm very happy to talk about it. Here are my wounds, right? Here are my wounds. I'm not trying to hide them. This is how we heal. I show you my wounds. You show me yours. You show me mine, right? And this is why it's warrior energy, because how are these warriors finding one each other? They're showing each other their scars. Right? While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union, this is the energy that feels the energetic wounds that form as they move. This is the energy that goes, if they thought that moving into divine union was going to be a picnic, like this is the energy that has that realization that as we move deeper into divine union, it often hurts, because this is the energy that recognizes the differentiation and perception in terms of how we feel versus those around us. Right? Not being able to change that, right? Like there's a lot of this energy absorbing the fact that they see that they have changed, or absorbing the fact that someone around them cannot see something from the perspective that they do anymore. It's painful. But this is, again, the energy holds the sacred pain. It doesn't move them counter oppositional to the direction that they're going. They carry it along with them on their journey. While for masculine and feminine deep within divine union right now, a lot of this like working through the anxieties, working through the fears, right? Remembering, because again, healthy energy, what do? We embrace our fear. And that's not to say, remember, that's not to say this isn't fear gone wild. Woo! No. When we embrace our fear, we say to our fear, hey, what do you got to say? Like, I've got it, like, like sometimes the fear raises its hand, says something really like out of left field, being like, what? No. But sometimes the fear has something very valid to say, and go, okay, we can work through that. That is a good note, fear. Thank you for your input. Right? That's why we keep the fear around, right? Like the fear, it's like it's got some really wacky stuff, but sometimes it's got a good note. Continuing to get clarification between our Six of Pentacles in combination with our Page of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. clarification coming through right now with, I love it, our Tower card in its reversal. And I got to tell you, I believe we had the Tower card in its reversal yesterday. Let me just check. We didn't have it yesterday. We had it the day before. And it's in the same side. So like a lot of this is, and I want to say even now, not building into, and this is why the healthy energy, like the energy right now, like this is like, look at this. This is literally what we're talking about. Do you see these two cards together right now? Navigating through fear, right? Navigating through fear. Do we turn our backs on fear? No, we don't turn our backs from fear. We don't like, that's all that's that Pluto and Capricorn energy. That's all like that. If I don't look at it, it'll go away. If I don't look at it, it'll go away. Right? Like, we work through our fear by facing our fear, right? We don't, because when we try to energetically avoid our fear, we often bump right into it. Like when we try to avoid our fear, we bump like right into it, bonk. Like we just bonk right into it, right? When we turn to our fear and we energetically embrace our fear, we allow those spaces and places that we say, listen, like, I don't move in accordance to it, right? Because even when we try to avoid our fear, we're moving in accordance to it, right? We're like moving away from something. But when we embrace our energetic fear to a certain extent, we open ourselves up to embracing, like that is the act of courage, right? We set our intention and we move in the direction of our fear because we say, my intention is not guided, is not a result of my energetic fear. It is what I set I'm not building upon that construct. I'm building upon that internal compass. So I just see that a lot of that energy right now, this is why this work right now is so fundamental for the energy and separation, because this is how they're finding themselves in a moment that feels less than ideal to be doing so. This is why this energy is warrior energy. And this is why for the energy right now coming into divine union, a lot of this feels like perseverance. Like this the reason these partnerships that are moving deepening are stabilizing their partnerships right now during this period are the Capricorn partnerships, because these are the partnerships of perseverance. They persevered through a lot of turbulence, starting with the partnership itself and then escalating to the experiences outside of partnership in the process. While for a lot of this energy right now, deep within divine union, I feel like there's a lot of this like releasing what is outside of one's control to change while accepting fully what is in one's control to move, like to affect. Right. And that, again, this is a lot of that same conversation as it relates to this is why we saw so much of that existential work, because again, that energy says what brings me closer in alignment to myself in the process, right? Final card for today's spread between our Six of Swords in its upright in combination with our Tower card in its reversal. Final card for today's reading is the Fool card in its upright. I mean, in its reversal. Here's the fun. I got to stress this though. The reason I said that the Fool card is in its upright is because when I see the Fool card in its reversal, I read the Fool card in its reversal in its upright, right? Because the Fool card is a card of naivete. It's just jumping into something without looking. It's like, wah! It's a lot of that like, woohoo kind of energy. The energy of the Fool in its reversal is the intentional, right? Working in that sense of intention, being able to take the step towards something, not knowing what is going to occur, but holding in oneself the energetic experiences of the past to guide the way. So I see even now what's beautiful, again, this full moon is healing, not in energy letting go of the past, but looking at the past as a sacred space, holding the energetic past sacredly, because this is the energy that says My past is energetically sacred because it created the lessons that I have worked through that has brought me to where I am today. And so I just keep seeing a lot of that energy in that space, building into that context, built into that point of being able to find that courage, because this is the card of courage, right? Finding that courage, feeling the volatility of the emotions that sometimes pull us in directions oppositional to the ones that we desire to go in, while at the same time reestablishing and refocusing our energetic commitment as to what's ahead of us. Bottom of the deck on today's reading is Three of Swords. It hurts to heal. It hurts to heal. And that's why I see even now, this is my little cautionary word to you right now. If you're feeling something and you're saying to yourself, it would be really good. Oh, it'd be so healing. It would be really healing to do that. Oh, it'd feel so good to do that. Would it be healing, or would it feel good? Because those are different things. Those are different things. Healing does not feel good, right? Remember that. And so again, you may be navigating others who are like in that space of being like, I'm doing this because I'm healing, and being like, no, right? Because when we work on healing, we hold space for our energetic pain, right? We recognize and we feel that amplification. We don't indulge on what the emotions desire us to do. And again, I need to stress, this is why this is different for everyone right now. I want to point this out. When we find those moments that feel like they're energetically restorative, it is not the space, right? It's not the fact that, I need to stress this, it's not the fact that the emotions are trying to lead us astray, right? But when we find that ellipse, right? When we find that ellipse between what the emotions desire for us versus what the higher self calls us to do, then we have found our way, right? Because that is the identification of the self. It's not letting go of the ego. It's not letting go of the higher self. It is finding the self between those 2 points and recognizing and identifying what that pathwork is. And so we see even now, like, a lot of that is what is allowing for energy right now to let go of the past, with a sense of, again, compassion for the self as you build forward into that future process. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, gracestrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber name at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website, so I encourage you to do it there. Also, a couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who attended our recent class on the Strength card. Our next tarot class is this week. I would love if you would join us on Wednesday, January 15th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the Hermit card. If you would like to become a part of our tarot class program, all you need to do is head over and become a paid subscriber to my Substack, gracestrega.substack.com. Your paid subscription to my Substack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You'll also have access to the full Tarot Church Library, which is over 9 hours worth of material is available to you as a subscriber. It is not necessary to catch up. We call it a library because it is available for you when you are ready to receive it. And I will be giving recaps in each and every class on everything that we've studied thus far. Also, if you become a founding member to my Substack, you will also receive Not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, but you will also receive a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, wherein I will assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage towards your personal tarot goals moving forward. One of the things I tried to do with these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. So I want to thank you so much if you're already joining us there, and I look forward to potentially seeing you at our next class. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings and services. Also, if you are a subscriber to TikTok, make sure that you head over to our subscriber-only Discord channel, because there you will find a very special coupon code that will give you an additional discount to that Substack subscription. Finally, I want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship and dream interpretation reading packages. My mentorship classes are for those that are seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. Therefore, to focus on an individual's personal growth or spiritual goals, I take a very limited number of students for this reason. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or biweekly as your schedule permits. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. For those that are interested in my dream interpretation reading packages, those are packages where I encourage you to keep a dream journal of some sort. And once a week, we meet to be able to break down the meanings and the symbology that is coming through in your dream space. And those can also be purchased on an individual level or as a package. So 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. And also, I would deeply encourage all of you to make sure that you're joining me across all of my social channels. You can find the exact channels on my link tree to make sure that they are me. I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful day. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of each other. And we will do this again tomorrow.